Chapter 6. 2 screens into my demo to Microsoft. I taste blood and have to start swallowing. My boss doesn't know the material, but he won't let me run the demo with a black eye and half my face swollen from the stitches inside my cheek. The stitches have come loose. I can feel them with my tongue against the inside of my cheek. Picture snarled fishing line on the beach. I can picture them as black stitches on a dog after it's been fixed. I keep swallowing blood. My boss is making the presentation for my script, and I'm running the laptop projector so I'm off to one side of the room, in the dark. More of my lips are sticky with blood as I try to lick the blood off. And when the lights come up, I will turn to the consultants, Ellen, and Walter, and Norbert, and Linda from Microsoft, and say, "Thank you for coming," my mouth shining with blood, and blood climbing the cracks between my teeth. You can swallow about a pint of blood before you're sick. Fight Club is tomorrow, and I'm not going to miss Fight Club. Before the presentation, Walter from Microsoft smiles his steam shovel jaw like a marketing tool, tan the color of a barbecued potato chip. Walter, with his signet ring, shakes my hand, wrapped in his smooth, soft hand, and says, "I'd hate to see what happened to the other guy." The first rule about Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club. I tell Walter I fell. I did this to myself. Before the presentation, when I sat across from my boss, telling him where in the script each slide cues, and when I wanted to run the video segment, my boss says, "What do you get yourself into every weekend?" "I just don't want to die without a few scars," I say. It's nothing anymore to have a beautiful stock body. You see those cars that are completely stock cherry right out of the dealer's showroom in 1955? I always think, what a waste. The second rule about Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club. Maybe at lunch, the waiter comes to your table, and the waiter has the 2 black eyes of a giant panda from Fight Club last weekend, when you saw him get his head pinched between the concrete floor and the knee of a 200-pound stock boy who kept slamming a fist into the bridge of the waiter's nose, again and again, and flat, hard, packing sounds you could hear over all the yelling until the waiter caught enough breath and sprayed blood to say stop. You don't say anything because Fight Club exists only in the hours between when Fight Club starts and when Fight Club ends. You saw the kid who works in the copy center. A month ago, you saw this kid who can't remember to 3-hole punch an order or put colored slip sheets between the copy packets. But this kid was a god for 10 minutes. When you saw him kick the air out of an account representative twice his size, then land on the man and pound him limp until the kid had to stop. That's the third rule in Fight Club. When someone says stop or goes limp, even if he's just faking it, the fight is over. Every time you see this kid, you can't tell him what a great fight he had. Only 2 guys to a fight, 1 fight at a time. They fight without shirts or shoes. The fights go on as long as they have to. Those are the other rules of Fight Club. Who guys are in Fight Club is not who they are in the real world. Even if you told the kid in the copy center that he had a good fight, you wouldn't be talking to the same man. Who I am in Fight Club is not someone my boss knows. After a night in Fight Club, everything in the real world gets the volume turned down. Nothing can piss you off. Your word is law, and if other people break that law or question you, even that doesn't piss you off. In the real world, I'm a recall campaign coordinator in a shirt and tie, sitting in the dark with a mouthful of blood, and changing the overheads and slides, as my boss tells Microsoft how he chose a particular shade of pale cornflower blue for an icon. The first Fight Club was just Tyler and I pounding on each other. It used to be enough that when I came home angry and knowing that my life wasn't towing my 5-year plan, I could clean my condominium or detail my car. Someday I'd be dead without a scar, and there'd be a really nice condo and a car. Really, really nice. Until the dust settled or the next owner. Nothing is static. Even the Mona Lisa is falling apart. Since Fight Club, I can wiggle half the teeth in my jaw. Maybe self-improvement isn't the answer. Tyler never knew his father. Maybe self-destruction is the answer. Tyler and I still go to Fight Club together. Fight Club is in the basement of a bar now, after the bar closes on Saturday night, and every week you go, there's more guys there. Tyler gets under the one light in the middle of the black concrete basement, and he can see that light flickering back out of the dark in 100 pairs of eyes. First thing Tyler yells is, "The first rule about Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club." "The second rule about Fight Club," Tyler yells, "is you don't talk about Fight Club." Me, I knew my dad for about 6 years, but I don't remember anything. My dad, he starts a new family in a new town about every 6 years. This isn't so much like a family as it's like he sets up a franchise. What you see at Fight Club is a generation of men raised by women. Tyler standing under the one light in the after-midnight blackness of a basement full of men. Tyler runs through the other rules. 2 men per fight. 1 fight at a time. No shoes, no shirts. Fights go on as long as they have to. And the 7th rule, Tyler yells, is if this is your first night at Fight Club, you have to fight. Fight Club is not football and television. You aren't watching a bunch of men you don't know halfway around the world beating on each other, live by satellite, with a 2-minute delay. Commercials pitching beer every 10 minutes, and a pause now for station identification. After you've been to Fight Club, watching football and television is watching pornography when you could be having great sex. Fight Club gets to be a reason for going to the gym and keeping your hair cut short and cutting your nails. The gyms you go to are crowded with guys trying to look like men, as if being a man means looking the way a sculptor or an art director says. Like Tyler says, even a soufflé looks pumped. My father never went to college, so it was really important I go to college. After college, I called him long distance and said, "Now what?" My dad didn't know. When I got a job and turned 25, long distance, I said, "Now what?" My dad didn't know. So he said, "Get married." I'm a 30-year-old boy, and I'm wondering if another woman is really the answer I need. What happens at Fight Club doesn't happen in words. Some guys need a fight every week. This week, Tyler says it's the first 50 guys through the door and that's it. No more. Last week, I tapped a guy, and he and I got on the list for a fight. This guy must have had a bad week. Got both my arms behind my head in a full Nelson, and rammed my face into the concrete floor until my teeth bit open the inside of my cheek, and my eye was swollen shut, was bleeding. And after I said stop, I could look down and there was a print of half my face in blood on the floor. Tyler stood next to me, both of us looking down at the big O of my mouth, with blood all around it, and the little slit of my eye staring up at us from the floor. And Tyler says, "Cool." I shake the guy's hand and say, "Good fight." This guy, he says, "How about next week?" I try to smile against all the swelling and I say, "Look at me. How about next month?" You aren't alive anywhere like you're alive at Fight Club. When it's you and one other guy under that one light in the middle of all those watching, Fight Club isn't about winning or losing fights. Fight Club isn't about words. You see a guy come to Fight Club for the first time, and his ass is a loaf of white bread. You see this same guy here 6 months later, and he looks carved out of wood. This guy trusts himself to handle anything. There's grunting and noise at Fight Club, like at the gym. But Fight Club isn't about looking good. There's hysterical shouting in tongues like a church. And when you wake up Sunday afternoon, you feel saved. After my last fight, The guy who fought me mopped the floor while I called my insurance to pre-approve a visit to the emergency room. At the hospital, Tyler tells them I fell down. Sometimes Tyler speaks for me. I did this to myself. Outside, the sun was coming up. You don't talk about Fight Club because except for 5 hours from 2 until 7 on Sunday morning, Fight Club doesn't exist. When we invented Fight Club, Tyler and I, neither of us had ever been in a fight before. If you've never been in a fight, you wonder about getting hurt, about what you're capable of doing against another man. I was the first guy Tyler ever felt safe enough to ask, and we were both drunk in a bar where no one would care, so Tyler said, "I want you to do me a favor. I want you to hit me as hard as you can." I didn't want to, but Tyler explained it all, about not wanting to die without any scars, about being tired of watching only professionals fight, and wanting to know more about himself, about self-destruction. At the time, my life just seemed too complete. Maybe we have to break everything to make something better out of ourselves. I looked around and said, "Okay." "Okay," I say, but outside in the parking lot. So we went outside, and I asked Tyler if he wanted it in the face or in the stomach. Tyler said, "Surprise me." I said I had never hit anybody. Tyler said, "So go crazy, man." I said, "Close your eyes." Tyler said, "No." Like every guy on his first night in Fight Club, I breathed in and swung my fist in a roundhouse at Tyler's jaw, like in every cowboy movie we'd ever seen. And my fist connected with the side of Tyler's neck. "Shit," I said, "that didn't count. I want to try it again." Tyler said, "Yeah, it counted," and hit me, straight on. Pow! Just like a cartoon boxing glove on a spring on Saturday morning cartoons. Right in the middle of my chest, and I fell back against a car. We both stood there, Tyler rubbing the side of his neck, and me holding a hand on my chest. Both of us knowing we'd gotten somewhere we'd never been, and like the cat and mouse in cartoons, we were still alive and wanted to see how far we could take this thing and still be alive. Tyler said, "Cool." I said, "Hit me again." Tyler said, "No, you hit me." So I hit him, a girl's wide roundhouse to right under his ear, and Tyler shoved me back and stomped the heel of his shoe in my stomach. What happened next and after that didn't happen in words, but the bar closed and people came out and shouted around us in the parking lot. Instead of Tyler, I felt finally I could get my hands on everything in the world that didn't work. My cleaning that came back with the collar buttons broken. The bank that says I'm hundreds of dollars overdrawn. My job where my boss got on my computer and fiddled with my DOS execute commands. And Marla Singer, who stole the support groups from me. Nothing was solved when the fight was over, but nothing mattered. The first night we fought was a Sunday night, and Tyler hadn't shaved all weekend, so my knuckles burned raw from his weekend beard. Lying on our backs in the parking lot, staring up at the one star that came through the streetlights, I asked Tyler what he'd been fighting. Tyler said his father. Maybe we didn't need a father to complete ourselves. There's nothing personal about who you fight in Fight Club. You fight to fight. You're not supposed to talk about Fight Club, but we talked, and for the next couple of weeks, guys met in that parking lot after the bar had closed. And by the time it got cold, another bar offered the basement where we meet now. When Fight Club meets, Tyler gives the rules, he and I decided. Most of you, Tyler yells in a cone of light in the center of the basement full of men, you're here because someone broke the rules. Somebody told you about Fight Club. Tyler says, well, you better stop talking or you better start another Fight Club, because next week you put your name on a list when you get here, and only the first 50 names on the list get in. If you get in, You set up your fight right away if you want to fight. If you don't want to fight, there are guys who do. So maybe you should just stay home. If this is your first night at Fight Club, Tyler yells, you have to fight. Most guys are at Fight Club because of something they're too scared to fight. After a few fights, you're afraid a lot less. A lot of best friends meet for the first time at Fight Club. Now I go to meetings or conferences and see faces at conference tables, accountants and junior executives, or attorneys with broken noses spreading out like an eggplant under the edges of bandages, or they have a couple of stitches under an eye or a jaw wired shut. These are the quiet young men who listen until it's time to decide. We nod to each other. Later, my boss will ask me how I know so many of these guys. According to my boss, there are fewer and fewer gentlemen in business and more thugs. The demo goes on. Walter from Microsoft catches my eye. Here's a young guy with perfect teeth and clear skin, and the kind of job you bother to write the alumni magazine about getting. You know he was too young to fight in any wars, and if his parents weren't divorced, his father was never home. And here he's looking at me with half my face clean-shaved and a half-leering bruise hidden in the dark, blood shining on my lips. And maybe Walter's thinking about a meatless, pain-free potluck he went to last weekend, or the ozone, or the Earth's desperate need to stop cruel product testing on animals. But probably he's not. Chapter 7. One morning, there's the dead jellyfish of a used condom floating in the toilet. This is how Tyler meets Marla. I get up to take a leak, and there against the sort of cave paintings of dirt in the toilet bowl is this. You have to wonder, what does sperm think? This? This is the vaginal vault? What's happening here? All night long I dreamed I was humping Marla Singer. Marla Singer smoking her cigarette. Marla Singer rolling her eyes. I wake up alone in my own bed, and the door to Tyler's room is closed. The door to Tyler's room is never closed. All night it was raining. The shingles on the roof blister, buckle, curl, and the rain comes through and collects on top of the ceiling plaster and drips down through the light fixtures. When it's raining, we have to pull the fuses. You don't dare turn on the lights. The house that Tyler rents, it has 3 stories and a basement. We carry around candles. It has pantries and screened sleeping porches, and stained glass windows on the stairway landing. There are bay windows with window seats in the parlor. The baseboard moldings are carved and varnished and 18 inches high. The rain trickles down through the house, and everything wooden swells and shrinks. And the nails in everything wooden, the floors and baseboards and window casings, the nails inch out and rust. Everywhere there are rusted nails to step on or snag your elbow on. And there's only one bathroom for the 7 bedrooms. And now there's a used condom. The house is waiting for something, a zoning change or a will to come out of probate, and then it will be torn down. I asked Tyler how long he's been here. He said about 6 weeks. Before the dawn of time, there was an owner who collected lifetime stacks of the National Geographic and Reader's Digest. Big, teetering stacks of magazines that get taller every time it rains. Tyler says the last tenant used to fold the glossy magazine pages for cocaine envelopes. There's no lock on the front door from when police or whoever kicked in the door. There's 9 layers of wallpaper swelling on the dining room walls. Flowers under stripes, under flowers, under birds, under grass cloth. Our only neighbors are a closed machine shop, and across the street, a block-long warehouse. Inside the house, there's a closet with 7-foot rollers for rolling up damask tablecloths so they never have to be creased. There's a cedar-lined refrigerated fur closet. The tile in the bathroom is painted with little flowers, nicer than most everybody's wedding china. And there's a used condom in the toilet. I've been living with Tyler about a month. Tyler comes to breakfast with hickeys sucked all over his neck and chest, and I'm reading through an old Reader's Digest magazine. This is the perfect house for dealing drugs. There are no neighbors. There's nothing else on Paper Street except for warehouses and the pulp mill. The fart smell of steam from the paper mill, and the hamster cage smell of wood chips and orange pyramids around the mill. This is the perfect house for dealing drugs, because a bazillion trucks drive down Paper Street every day. But at night, Tyler and I are alone for half a mile in every direction. I found stacks and stacks of Reader's Digest in the basement, and now there's a pile of Reader's Digest in every room. Life in these United States. Laughter is the best medicine. Stacks of magazines are about the only furniture. In the oldest magazines, there's a series of articles where organs in the human body talk about themselves in the first person. I am Jane's uterus. I am Joe's prostate. No kidding. And Tyler comes to the kitchen table with his hickeys and no shirt and says, blah, 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 he met Marla Singer last night and they had sex. Hearing this, I'm totally Joe's gallbladder. All of this is my fault. Sometimes you do something, and you get screwed. Sometimes it's the things you don't do, and you get screwed. Last night I called Marla. We've worked out a system, so if I want to go to a support group, I can call Marla and see if she's planning to go. Melanoma was last night, and I felt a little down. Marla lives at the Regent Hotel, which is nothing but brown bricks held together with sleaze, where all the mattresses are sealed inside slippery plastic covers. So many people go there to die. You sit on any bed the wrong way, and you and the sheets and blanket slide right to the floor. I called Marla at the Regent Hotel to see if she was going to Melanoma. Marla answered in slow motion. This wasn't a for-real suicide, Marla said. This was probably just one of those cry-for-help things, but she had taken too many Xanax. Picture going over to the Regent Hotel to watch Marla throw herself around her crummy room saying, I'm dying, dying, I'm dying, 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 dying. This would go on for hours. So she was staying home tonight, right? She was doing the big death thing, Marla told me. I should get a move on if I wanted to watch. Thanks anyway, I said, but I had other plans. That's okay, Marla said. She could die just as well watching television. Marla just hoped there was something worth watching. I ran off to Melanoma. I came home early. I slept. And now, at breakfast the next morning, Tyler's sitting here covered in hickeys and says, Marla is some twisted bitch, but he likes that a lot. After Melanoma last night, I came home and went to bed and slept, and dreamed I was humping Marla Singer. And this morning, listening to Tyler, I pretend to read the Reader's Digest. A twisted bitch. I could have told you that. Reader's Digest. Humor in uniform. I am Joe's raging bile duct. The things Marla said to him last night, Tyler says. No girls ever talk to him that way. I am Joe's grinding teeth. I am Joe's inflamed, flaring nostrils. After Tyler and Marla had sex about 10 times, Tyler says. Marla said she wanted to get pregnant. Marla said she wanted to have Tyler's abortion. I am Joe's white knuckles. How could Tyler not fall for that? The night before last, Tyler sat up alone, splicing sex organs into Snow White. How could I compete for Tyler's attention? I am Joe's enraged, inflamed sense of rejection. What's worse is this is all my fault. After I went to sleep last night, Tyler tells me he came home from his shift as a banquet waiter, and Marla called again from the Regent Hotel. This was it, Marla said. The tunnel. The light leading her down the tunnel. The death experience was so cool. Marla wanted me to hear her describe it as she lifted out of her body and floated up. Marla didn't know if her spirit could use the telephone, but she wanted someone to at least hear her last breath. No, Tyler answers the phone and misunderstands the whole situation. They've never met, so Tyler thinks it's a bad thing that Marla is about to die. It's nothing of the kind. This is none of Tyler's business. But Tyler calls the police and Tyler races over to the Regent Hotel. Now, according to the ancient Chinese custom we all learned from television, Tyler is responsible for Marla forever because Tyler saved Marla's life. If I had only wasted a couple of minutes and had gone over to watch Marla die, then none of this would have happened. Tyler tells me how Marla lives in room 8G, on the top floor of the Regent Hotel, up 8 flights of stairs, and down a noisy hallway with canned television laughter coming through the doors. Every couple seconds an actress screams, or actors die screaming in a rattle of bullets. Tyler gets to the end of the hallway, and even before he knocks, a thin, buttermilk sallow arm slingshots out the door of room 8G, grabs his wrist, and yanks Tyler inside. I bury myself in Reader's Digest. Even as Marla yanks Tyler into her room, Tyler can hear brake squeals and sirens collecting out in front of the Regent Hotel. On the dresser, there's a dildo made of the same soft pink plastic as a million Barbie dolls. And for a moment, Tyler can picture millions of baby dolls and Barbie dolls and dildos injection molded and coming off the same assembly line in Taiwan. Marla looks at Tyler looking at her dildo. She rolls her eyes and says, "Don't be afraid. It's not a threat to you." Marla shoves Tyler back out into the hallway, and she says she's sorry, but he shouldn't have called the police, and that's probably the police downstairs right now. In the hallway, Marla locks the door to 8G and shoves Tyler toward the stairs. On the stairs, Tyler and Marla flatten against the wall as police and paramedics charge by with oxygen, asking which door will be 8G. Marla tells them the door at the end of the hall. Marla shouts to the police that the girl who lives in 8G used to be a lovely, charming girl. But the girl is a monster bitch monster. The girl is infectious human waste, and she's confused and afraid to commit to the wrong thing, so she won't commit to anything. The girl in 8G has no faith in herself, Marla shouts, and she's worried that as she grows older, she'll have fewer and fewer options. Marla shouts, "Good luck!" The police pile up at the locked door to 8G, and Marla and Tyler hurry down to the lobby. Behind them, a policeman is yelling at the door. "Let us help you! Miss Singer, you have every reason to live. Just let us in, Marla, and we can help you with your problems." Marla and Tyler rushed out into the street. Tyler got Marla into a cab, and high up on the 8th floor of the hotel, Tyler could see shadows moving back and forth across the windows of Marla's room. Out on the freeway with all the lights and the other cars, 6 lanes of traffic racing toward the vanishing point, Marla tells Tyler he has to keep her up all night. If Marla ever falls asleep, she'll die. A lot of people wanted Marla dead, she told Tyler. These people were already dead and on the other side, and at night they called on the telephone. Marla would go to bars and hear the bartender calling her name, and when she took the call, the line was dead. Tyler and Marla, they were up almost all night in the room next to mine. When Tyler woke up, Marla had disappeared back to the Regent Hotel. I tell Tyler Marla Singer doesn't need a lover. She needs a caseworker. Tyler says, "Don't call this love." Long story short, now Marla's out to ruin another part of my life. Ever since college, I make friends. They get married, I lose friends. Fine. Need I say? Tyler asks, is this a problem for me? I am Joe's clenching bowels. No, I say it's fine. Put a gun to my head and paint the wall with my brains. Just great, I say. Really. Chapter 8 My boss sends me home because of all the dried blood on my pants, and I'm overjoyed. The hole punched through my cheek doesn't ever heal. I'm going to work, and my punched-out eye sockets are two swollen-up black bagels around the little piss holes I have left to see through. Until today, it really pissed me off that I'd become this totally centered Zen master, and nobody had noticed. Still, I'm doing the little fax thing. I write little haiku things and fax them around to everyone. When I pass people in the hall at work, I get totally zen right in everyone's hostile little face. Worker bees can leave, even drones can fly away. The queen is their slave. You give up all your worldly possessions and your car and go live in a rented house in the toxic waste part of town where late at night you can hear Marla and Tyler in his room calling each other human butt wipe. Take it, human butt wipe. Do it, butt wipe. Choke it down. Keep it down, baby. Just by contrast, this makes me the calm little center of the world. Me with my punched-out eyes and dried blood and big black crusty stains on my pants. I'm saying hello to everybody at work. Hello. Look at me. Hello. I'm so zen. This is blood. This is nothing. Hello. Everything is nothing, and it's so cool to be enlightened like me. Sigh. Look, outside the window, a bird. My boss asked if the blood was my blood. The bird flies downwind. I'm writing a little haiku in my head. Without just one nest, a bird can call the world home. Life is your career. I'm counting on my fingers, 5, 7, 5. The blood, is it mine? Yeah, I say, some of it. This is a wrong answer. Like this is a big deal. I have 2 pair of black trousers, 6 white shirts, 6 pair of underwear, the bare minimum. I go to Fight Club. These things happen. Go home, my boss says. Get changed. I'm starting to wonder if Tyler and Marla are the same person, except for their humping every night in Marla's room. Doing it. Doing it. Doing it. Tyler and Marla are never in the same room. I never see them together. Still, you never see me and Zsa Zsa Gabor together, and this doesn't mean we're the same person. Tyler just doesn't come out when Marla's around. So I can wash the pants, Tyler has to show me how to make soap. Tyler's upstairs, and the kitchen is filled with the smell of cloves and burnt hair. Marla's at the kitchen table, burning the inside of her arm with a clove cigarette and calling herself human butt wipe. I embrace my own festering diseased corruption, Marla tells the cherry on the end of her cigarette. Marla twists the cigarette into the soft white belly of her arm. Burn, witch, burn! Tyler's upstairs in my bedroom, looking at his teeth in my mirror, and he says he's got me a job as a banquet waiter, part-time. At the Pressman Hotel if you can work in the evening, Tyler says. The job will stoke your class hatred. Yeah, I say, whatever. They make you wear a black bow tie, Tyler says. All you need to work there is a white shirt and black trousers. Soap, Tyler. I say, we need soap. We need to make some soap. I need to wash my pants. I hold Tyler's feet while he does 200 sit-ups. To make soap, first we have to render fat. Tyler is full of useful information. Except for the humping, Marla and Tyler are never in the same room. If Tyler's around, Marla ignores him. This is familiar ground. This is exactly how my parents were invisible to each other. Then my father went off to start another franchise. My father always said, "Get married before the sex gets boring, or you'll never get married." My mother said, "Never buy anything with a nylon zipper." My parents never said anything you'd want to embroider on a cushion.